Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Jessie, and no matter what kind of day you're having, I'm glad you're here. Around here, honesty always has a seat at the table, and you do too. We'll talk about life, laughter, struggles, faith, and everything you can think in between. So pull up a chair, take a deep breath, and let's have a conversation because whatever we are facing, we've got this. So, June was definitely Men's Mental Awareness Month, and I wanted to really just get a man's perspective, a guy, a friend, my brother, whoever. And come to find out, a lot of these guys are shyer than I thought. So, I actually thought of one of two people that I knew would be very direct with me, but also we have a rapport. So we started off with one question. What's something you wish people understood about being a man when they usually don't? So I originally had to do this as like an interview kind of setup. So you might hear the audio kind of change, but this is just what we could do. Scheduling interviews is actually a lot harder than I thought, but I still loved his answers. And surprisingly, I think a lot of women just need to hear this, coming from a man's point of view, of course. So when I asked him that question, this was his first answer, and it was pretty, normal. But then we really dove into some other stuff.
Well, from my experiences as being a man myself, I think the most big misconception that most people get, especially women, men are really, really in tune with their self. And a lot of times, if you're paying attention to whatever man you're dealing with, he'll show you exactly what he wants from you. He'll show you how to handle him. He'll show you how to communicate with him. He'll also show you this. Learn when your place is your place and not just overstep your boundaries. But in the same aspect, you got people who look at a man and don't even consider any of that in the equation. Especially women, y'all feel like at the end of the day, you my man, I'm your lady, you gonna do what I tell you to do. And that's not how most men function. Before I let you dictate a law to me, I will politely leave. That's just me. I can't speak on every other man, but me, it doesn't work like that. And if you're going by biblical stance, then you're right. The man is the head of the household. So how do you put yourself above him? Make it make sense.
So then we started to go into, in the biblical sense, yes, the man is the head of household according to God's design for the family. Ephesians 5:23 states, "For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior." So a head obviously cannot function on its own, but it is as dependent on the rest of the body as the body is on the head. When the husband loves his wife as Christ loves the church and gave himself for her. So then I asked him to give me an example. Do you think is your responsibility as head of household? And what would be, let's say, your spouse or your partner's duties, in that environment?
Okay, just for example, and this is minuscule to me because it doesn't really mean much, but it means just as much as about what I'm going to explain. Okay, me and you are together. We've decided this is where we're going. We've locked in with each other. I'm yours, you're mine. Okay? I go to work. I provide. I do such and such and such. I make sure that all is taken care of as best to my ability. But when I bring it to the table and you misuse what I placed on the table to make sure that we're taken care of, and then you get a whole attitude because I have an attitude because you did not function the proper way as being my partner. The bills should have been paid first. You're not going to go get your nails done. You're not going to get your hair done. The light bill needs to be paid. The rent needs to be paid. Groceries need to be put up. Who told you to go spend the money on what you wanted simply because I provide? That's just a small one. We can get deeper.
So, knowing me, I love to kind of challenge. I love to have a debate. And there's a lot more questions I had than just some of his answers. So we did dive a little deeper. We did kind of go into like a relationship boundary. And this is what he had to say.
Also, when dealing with relationships, you have to understand the biggest two things that makes a relationship work is transparency and communication. If you don't have either one of those, I don't care how fine that man is, I don't care how beautiful that woman is. If you don't have transparency or communication with that person, nothing that you put your hands on together is going to work because you don't know how to listen or be in tune with each other. It's not always about the man making a decision. You're my partner. I'm supposed to look to you for advice. Now, inherently, at the end of the day, it is my choice. I have to make this decision. But as my partner, you're supposed to be like, well, babe, this ain't right. I think you should go about this way. And I may have a rebuttal to it, but of course, if I do, that means I'm paying attention, I'm listening. And you knows you may be correct in everything that you're saying. It's seeing it from a different eye. But again, it all goes back to transparency and communication. Now, speaking in terms of myself, I grew up with 11 sisters. So all of my sisters really taught me how to be in tune with a woman. And that's just truth. You know what to do, what not to do, how to handle, how not to handle, how to talk, how to be aggressive in the right way, but never be disrespectful. Always pay attention to your woman because she's going to tell you exactly how she moves. A lot of the time it's verbal, but some women actually know how to show a man what they're looking for in them without even saying a word. But again, that's transparency.
So what do you all think? I actually agree with him about the transparency, about the communication. You honestly never really see or even understand how important that is until you don't have it. And you truly crave it in a sense, with your partner, with your spouse, with your kids, with even your work family, how we have work husbands and work wives. You want to be on a communication and transparency level. You trust this person, they should trust you, but you also are building a relationship, a rapport, history. You know, you have to have each other's back. And without those building blocks stacking on top of each other in a very strong way, everything just comes crashing down. So then I went ahead and started asking questions about, when can you tell that that person really isn't right for you? Or when can you tell maybe they've just pulled back a little bit? How do you take that? And we went into further conversation with just, examples. And this is how he responded.
Well, first of all, your pattern and how you move is going to change. Because obviously, you've done something wrong if my demeanor has changed with you. But as far as getting to a place to where I know this just ain't gonna work, that takes some time. It's just not a quick decision. Especially if you love that particular person, you really try to give that person that chance to show them I got a reason to fight for this. But once you do see it, at the end of the day, me personally, I'm not finna stick around. Things will be said in the proper manner, and from there, we gonna move like we move. Because I have nothing against you, I just know that this ain't gonna work. And most women don't believe that their man really will fight for them. And this doesn't have to be by outside influence, like I'm thinking you're cheating or you're thinking I'm cheating. It's more so like, damn it, I done put all of this in you. I'm gonna fight for this shit until you show me there's no need for me to fight for it anymore. Me, once I'm there, you ain't gotta worry about me. I've seen what it is. I've accepted what it's gonna be. And don't get it twisted. It may hurt me a while, but I got it. I'm gonna get that.
And I honestly couldn't agree with that more, just being in those positions myself. When you're mentally gone from a relationship, you pull back. But when you kind of sit back and watch, your partner's behavior, your spouse, whoever it is, you kind of really watch and you kind of just start to detach from them. But you also want to see what they choose to do when you're not in their ear, in their face, constantly on the phone with them. You really see another whole side, a light. You want them to choose you, of course, but do they? Or is there someone else they're giving their attention to? Even if it's just attention through a text message, through memes, whatever it is. Sometimes that's going past a boundary line that is uncomfortable with the person you are actually connected to and in a relationship. So it does feel like cheating in a sense, but it also just makes you realize maybe this isn't my person. Maybe I need to back off, or maybe when you both back off, you both kind of know it. Nobody's had the guts to say, maybe we really don't fit. And sometimes the hardest part of loving someone isn't learning how they think or even their perspective of the relationship, because you have your own mind too. It's really just accepting maybe when the relationship is no longer healthy for either of you. Understanding someone's perspective can bring the compassion, but it should never become the reason you ignore your inner peace or loving yourself or putting yourself first. If you find yourself constantly questioning your worth, carrying that relationship alone, or even holding on to who someone could be instead of who they consistently choose to be and what they're showing you they are, it may be time to just choose yourself. Yeah, it can be lonely, but wouldn't you rather be happier? Love should change you to grow, but it should never require you to lose who you are, to lose yourself. So if you're wondering whether it's time to let go, maybe don't ask yourself, do I love them? Instead, ask, am I becoming the person I want to be while I'm here with this person, in this relationship, in this situationship, whatever it is, the new term is. I honestly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everyone listening and just allowing us to have these open and honest conversations. I thank Shane for just helping me get that perspective. And he was, willing to do the hard answers that a lot of the guys that I call my friends just didn't want to go that route or just didn't want to do. And I understand it. Not everyone's okay with being that vulnerable with complete strangers. I get it. So if this episode helped you, I hope you'll share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Or just give me some feedback. Leave something in the comments. And also, with the 4th of July right around the corner, I hope you all have a happy and safe and amazing, memorable holiday. Go have fun. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Happy birthday, Amber! Because yes, her birthday is July 4th, so we'll all be celebrating. And let's all just make some more choices. Until next time, I'm Jessie. And remember, no matter what you're facing, we've got this.